Hello, Ineffable Being. How are you doing? I hope you're having a wonderful, magical day. I want to tell you that you are a genius. You are special. You mean the world, and you are loved. Ineffable Being, put a 777 down in the comments if you have recently forgiven someone. If you have forgiven someone, excuse me. Forgiving is such a energetic thing. It's so emotional, it's so liberating, it's so satisfying. And I wanted to discuss my journey of forgiveness with you. Well, again, forgiveness can come in a lot of different ways. You can physically tell someone, hey, I forgive you. You can simply articulate it inside of yourself. And then you can also neither not do either of these, but demonstrate forgiveness with your actions to them or about them in another sense. So, you know, if you've been following this journey of these videos, then you probably have a little bit of background into where I come from, who I am. So I'm just going to sum it up in a little quick form, 30 seconds. I was born in Honduras, third world country, and I was given away, lived with, aunts, uncles, etc. Never knew my parents. Then I was taken to the United States by my grandmother. There was some, child abuse going on there for a good couple of years. School found out. Then I was in foster care. Then I was adopted by some family that, they did everything they possibly could, but there was still domestic violence. There was still some things that probably someone, really no one should have to go through domestic violence, but especially a kid, an individual that wants to leave where he just came from. But these kind of things were around in my new house, and well, I ended up staying there my whole life. I say this to say that there are impacts that happen, right? Effects of what are the side effects of overly stimulated right hemisphere, right? Lack of emotion in speech, depression, lead thoughts of suicide, all of these things. What are effects of the brain whenever the left side is overstimulated? Well, we have lack of vision. We have worsened spatial awareness. So we look at the larger picture, and also our speech is very littered with grammatical errors. So I look at all this, and this is science, but I just shared with you. So I look at who I am now, and I say, wow, I mean, my whole brain is effed up because I've attempted suicide. I used to have depression. My vision is horrible, or at least it was. I couldn't really take care of my needs because, again, that spatial awareness. I'm not really looking to prioritize things. I'm just looking at the big picture. And whenever you're not conscious, whenever you're not living through the heart, the big picture might just be happiness. Well, as a young kid, I might find happiness, sex, drugs, alcohol, video games, things that aren't really pushing me along my journey. So I shared a little bit of my history so you can see that, yeah, what science says, what are the effects of overstimulated left side and right side? I have all these characteristics. Funny story is, I never passed a spelling test. Elementary school, you have spelling tests every single week, I believe. My mother would sit with me on flashcards and study, and I mean, I did everything under the sun, but I never passed a spelling test. I don't know why, and I don't really think as to why at that time I did it, but now I look, what science shows, and I'm like, wow. I mean, I literally was manifesting all of these characteristics of, damage to the left and right hemisphere of the brain. I inhibited all of these. So it's easy for me to say, wow, I've had such a hard life, and this person didn't treat me right, and they didn't treat me right, and this family, they didn't treat me right, and this person did me wrong, and that partner, and this friend, all of these things, right? And sure, I mean, I could stand here today and say, yeah, I mean, I look at my cards, look, I was abused my whole life, and look at this and look at that, and just to facilitate, to validate, my suffering. But I decided to wake up one day. I decided one day to wake up and decide, you know what? This is not the life that I want to live. I can't be blaming circumstances as to why I am the person I am. I want to have my reality be affected by my personality and not vice versa. Because the great many of us are living under the paradigm where their personality, where their reality is controlling their thoughts and emotions unconsciously. Because at a subatomic level, every experience, every place, every person, every situation creates neurological networks in the brain. So if you're not living consciously, if you're not living with a vision of the future, showing yourself, God, and all of the universe what you want out of life, then your environment is literally dictating your thoughts and emotions. So whenever I started living through the heart and I wanted to create the life that I wanted, part of this was forgiveness. Now, for me, I believe it was really easy because what I am using my intellect is to create the best chemical experience that I can. The foundation of human life is chemical. If you're sad, your chemistry is going to look in a certain way. Whenever you're mad, your chemistry will look in a certain way. If you're happy, your chemistry will look in a distinct way. Whatever emotion or state of being you can throw at me, there's going to be a distinct chemistry to it. So understanding this, you can understand like, okay, I'm living through the heart, cultivating and loving emotion. Well, part of this is like I have to forgive these people. Because you can change your story right now. I can say, damn, these people that adopted me, they treated me so bad. I was working from 10 years old and, domestic violence and all of these things. Oh, my grandmother, oh, this person, oh, my life. But you know what? If I want to get on with the world, then my story, regardless of how ugly it was, it's my decision and I decided to make it perfect. You know what? I'm glad I lived through all these experiences. And this isn't sarcasm. This is conscious speaking here. This is knowing that if I say, you know what, that person treated me bad, that's a thought. That electrical signal that we call thought is going to create a chemical signal that we call emotion. And the sustained interaction of the brain, electrical, the body, chemical, in negative, thoughts, energy, is going to create a negative neurochemistry inside of you. And that's going to create your state of being because your state of being is based on your thoughts and your emotions. So the moment that you're reliving the past, because you wake up and then your thoughts begin. So you think about your problems or some experience that hasn't yet happened that's linking you to the past because you're seeing the limitations that you have. You don't have the money, so you can't do this. You're not funny enough, so you can't be Kevin Hart. You're not strong enough, so you can't be Mr. Universe. Or whatever experience, your brain is a record of the past. So if you have 60 to 70,000 thoughts in one day, and we do, and those thoughts are connected to your past, and 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts you have yesterday, your life is not going to change very much. So what does this mean? Well, your neurochemistry is going to be horrible. Your chemical soup, what you are, is going to be very limiting. And you're going to have convergent focus versus divergent focus. And we want divergent so we can look at life and look at expanding, look at growth. But whenever we have a convergent focus, we don't know where to go. We're just reliving the past. We're going to keep blaming our past, our parents, our siblings, our being born simply. We're probably even going to go as far as blaming God. God, why did you bring me to life in such a poor environment? So if that is your response to life, if I ask you, why are you where you are today? And you're like, well, this happened to me 15 years ago. I had an overbearing father. That's why I am the way I am. You're not going to get anywhere in life because what you are is depending on someone else. So forgiveness is so important. I'm not going to say it's the key. Living through the heart is the key. Learning how to create your neurochemistry, your chemistry in a certain way that's going to allow you for forgiveness is the key. But forgiveness is going to be along your journey of living through the heart, you're going to come across forgiveness. So let me tell you quickly my journey. And this isn't like I say my journey. This journey is still going, and it's not just going to end one day, right? Because forgiveness is forgiveness. Well, I decided to consciously, I forgive you. Consciously articulate inside myself, hey, I forgive you. Hey, I love you. But you know what? It's not just like that. And this is the beautiful thing, and this is why living through the heart is so important. Because I can write down on a note card, I forgive you. But then I approach that person. The moment I see them, they fire off all these chemicals, all these hormones, because they're creating a neurological network in my brain. My brain knows them, so it's going to pull back. all of these past neurological circuits that they are involved with. So all of these circuits are also associated with memories, with emotions. So every time I see them, think about them, they are bringing to surface these emotions. So it's not just writing it down or articulating it one time in your brain. This is a journey. I have forgiven, but still my shadow, my unconscious, whenever I'm working or just living in my life, my unconscious may present the idea that, I have anger towards this person. So what happens? If you're not living on top, if you're not controlling your intelligence, your power, your brain, your thoughts, your emotions, and let's say you did the work one time, you said, yeah, I forgive you. And you meant it, like you wholeheartedly wanted to forgive. But if you don't sustain if you don't create new synaptic connections in a residual form, then it's going to be very easy for you one day in the future, after you articulate, I forgive you, for your unconscious to present the idea that you have not forgiven them, or present a different memory that makes you go back in time and then creates these emotions. So then you're like, wait, then you start believing these thoughts because you're not on top of them. You're not controlling yourself. You're just being governed by your external world. And this is where your reality creates your personality, because whatever experience happened in your life right now in this instant reminded you of this person, and it spurred some chemicals that created a thought, oh, I have not forgiven you. And if you're not on top of yourself to tell yourself, remind yourself, yeah, hey, you know what? That's a wrong thought. I have forgiven them. And say it in a kind and loving way, then you're going to believe this thought, and now your actions are going to reflect. So forgiveness isn't just writing it down. Forgiveness is a journey. Forgiveness is a couple dimensions. It's thought, it's emotion, and it's physical. Because it doesn't matter. I can articulate every single day inside of me, hey, I forgive so-and-so. I forgive so-and-so. But whenever I see them, well, I'm scared of them, or I try to avoid them, or I disrespect them, or whatever, because I can't control my impulses whenever I see them. Or let's say that, I treat them physically good, like, hey, how are you doing? And I hug them, but then but in my brain, I say, oh, you're ugly, or you did this to me, or I have not forgiven you. So this is another example where physically I'm showing forgiveness, but internally I'm not. And then we also have emotions, which is a little bit more difficult. But be conscious of your emotions towards any person or any situation or anything. It could be a country, it could be a certain movie that, oddly enough, created a negative neurochemistry inside of you. So forgiveness is very important because it's so liberating. It fills you with freedom. And I just wanted to share this journey with you because some people, it's very easy to say, I forgive you. But we don't understand that this is unfiring and unwiring past neural circuits, and we have to prune new synaptic connections and refire and rewire our brain. It's not just like, oh, a one shot kills all. It's a process. It's a journey, and it's a beautiful journey. And the more you stick with it, the easier it will become. So don't remember to not let yourself be influenced by ideas that aren't really reflecting your desires of forgiveness. And lastly, just be on top of your toes. You gotta be the captain. We talk about be the captain of your ship, of your destiny. Your destiny's inside of you. Just govern it. Tell yourself, you know what? I forgave that person, and I'm going to keep forgiving that person. And the last thing, it's not for them. We've all been there where we have told someone, hey, I forgive you. And they're like, what? You don't, like, I didn't do anything. Like, I'm sure you have received a backlash, right? Whenever you've told someone you forgive them. It's not about them. You don't need to tell them. Your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions need to reflect. You need to know because you, at a subatomic level, are connected to everything in existence. We can call it God. We can call it Source. We can call it the heart. We can call it the unified quantum field. Whatever you want to call it, at a subatomic level, you and me and everything else is connected. So your conscious, which is one little point, it's a speck of sand, is connected to all the trillions and trillions specks of sand that there are. And that's the only, you and that infinity is the only things that need to know if you have forgiven yourself, your mom, your family, the society or whoever and whatever needs forgiveness. And it's not about them. It's so you can begin to live free and live a beautiful, happy life. Ineffable being, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please put down in the comments if you received value and if you did not receive value. Please share this video with your family, friends, social media. Give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe. I hope to see you on the side of light. Goodbye.